Hello, fabulous ones. Today I am here with Patrice Dunn. I want to say Dr. Patrice.
Amen. I received that.
Dunn. And Patrice, you gotta tell us. Tell them a little bit about you.
Ooh, where do I start? I've been a teacher, a school counselor. Now I'm in private practice. I have 2 grown sons, a gaggle of grandkids.
Do you really have a gaggle?
I have a gaggle. I do. Love them to death. I always say that having grandkids is better than having children. So,
I'm making us feel some kind of way saying that.
Well, I think part of it is we know what we're doing when we have grandkids.
Okay,
We're just kind of fumbling in the dark when we have children, but and so I am out to make a difference in the world and specifically helping young girls and women of color.
Well, I'm not embarrassed to say it, you guys. This is my therapist.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Thank you for taking time out. I know y'all. Don't let that be a reflection on her abilities. Trust me, don't let that be a reflection on her abilities. She's phenomenal. Y'all need to reach out to her. This is my therapist. But I had the opportunity to meet one of your sons who's he's in the business with us, you guys. So if you ever need credit restoration.
Stop it. Get some help.
He really focuses more on financial literacy. You need to hit up Jordan Dunn, her son. So it's like all of them, y'all, they in the business of truly helping people. Now, I wanted to bring up something in going through my therapy and doing depression and all that. I found out some very shocking information. You guys, as women, we have faced so much stress. That's why I wanted to open up Title Tina Talks with my therapist so she can actually talk about some of the problems that women are facing, and especially African American women. And it's something that we don't talk about in our community. And what was it that you told me? I was shocked.
The fact that the statistics for African American women and the rate of suicide is increasing. And it had plateaued for many years, and I'm sure there's many contributing factors to that, but a lot of issues, especially with the disparities in healthcare and mental health care for Black women, it's just invisible. We don't pay attention to those numbers. We respond differently if it were white women or white men or even African American men. And so a lot of the research and literature is just invisible for women. And so I think in the recent years, people have started to look at that data and realize that the numbers are increasing.
Well, I know as an African American, as a Black woman, it seems like we're constantly under attack, especially here lately. I've been noticing things on social media, TikTok, and it seemed like the whole scenario of the angry Black woman is just running like rampant. And what do you think are some of the factors that are contributing to that?
Well, one thing I will say is that those factors are not new. You could trace it back to slavery. And the amount of responsibility and burden that's placed on women. However, they're overlooked. Their children were kidnapped from them, raped. Their husbands were beaten in front of them, sold off to other people. That would kind of make you angry, And so then you fast forward centuries, and we're kind of in the same place. I mean, we're still left with the burden of a lot of times raising children, maintaining households, keeping the family together, that matriarchal piece that we carry with us. We are expected to maintain the kids' education, have our own jobs and or careers. We are transportation for our children back and forth. Dear Lord, if you have more than one of those, you're just an Uber driver. You're going back and forth. And if you can't do that for whatever reason, then it's your responsibility to figure out how the kids are going to get home. Who's going to carpool? Who's doing what? And what I've seen in my practice is women are not as equipped with how to cope with that.
Wow.
Our grandmothers did it, our mothers did it, but they had a little more resiliency than we did. We're a little softer and we break easier than women of the past.
Yeah, and I think also you noticed that they had more of a sense of community.
Yes.
I know when I was coming up with my grandparents, everybody in the whole community raised us. They took a hand in raising us. They took a hand in disciplining us. Yes, I said discipline, which meant Tina go across that street and get me 3 limbs off that plum tree.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then she'd braid them together. Yes, I got spankings. You know, now you can't really do, you don't really do that. I even find myself as a parent, I don't do the disciplinary piece like that anymore. We've got too modern and we don't do that anymore. But do you think that has a little bit of something to do with it as well? Because I'm noticing even in our youth, it doesn't, they don't seem to have the same level in some instances of respect that we had and fear.
Right. Healthy fear.
Healthy fear.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, my kids have a healthy fear of me. Because I still do old school.
Right.
You know, we may not do speak, but they trust me.
I just acted borderline crazy.
Yeah.
So they never knew when I was going to snap, crackle, and pop.
That's it.
And usually they didn't push me to that point.
Right. They don't go that far.
Tina, I think there's several things that contributed to that. Not only did we have that sense of community, we lived in community.
Yes.
And we knew our neighbors. We went to church with our neighbors. We grew up. Your mama was my Sunday school teacher. The receptionist at the school knows my cousin and so we've lost some of that. Also, when we were growing up, our friends' parents parented the same way we did.
Yes.
Like if I couldn't have company at my house if my parents weren't home, but neither could my friends. So there wasn't the temptation to go to their house because none of us could have company. You better not have somebody in the house. And being on that phone, I couldn't be on the phone. You know, we had that old phone attached to the wall with the log.
We had a party.
Yes.
Do you remember party lines?
Yes, ma'am.
I remember party lines. Oh my God.
And so then I think you fast forward to today and we look at all the social media. So we have access to more information. And one of the things that I think that has done, because there's always been creepy people, but we don't trust anybody anymore. So now we know that, you know, there's creepy people on the internet that want to do harmful things to young people. And so we don't want to send our kids to childcare. Kids aren't allowed to have sleepovers anymore. So we've kind of lost that. You know, we'll wave at our neighbors, but we don't talk to them. We don't share with them. We don't say, hey, could you pick my kids up? I always tell my kids, you know, with my grandkids, you have to have a plan A, B, and C. If they can't go to school today, who's going to be able to watch them? You know, and I can't always be your plan B. You guys, the man is tired.
Nana getting cute too, y'all. She don't have Nana real cute.
What I say, I got some business of my own.
That's
now, so,
it. That's it.
But yeah, so I think there are lots of contributing factors, and what happens too is we've got these young parents who don't value family the same way that we did. Not only family. When it comes to people of color, the extended family, your grandma, your auntie, your play auntie, your uncles, you know, that kind of thing. And we've just kind of lost that sense of that.
And it's sad when you just said about the neighbors. I was sitting there thinking, I've been in my neighborhood 15 years and I only know 2 of my neighbors. That's sad because I think what happens is I know I drive up to open my garage, let it down, and then I'm in.
That's right. We live inside that little cocoon. And I know my neighbors and would wave. I don't necessarily know their name. If I saw them out at Walmart, I probably wouldn't even recognize them. I'd be like, oh, they look familiar, but I'm not. I'm used to seeing them in the yard or at the mailbox. And so we've lost that sense of
do you think it's
community.
because we've been so urbanized, or we moved into the city? I know I'm from a small town where everybody knew everybody. Were you from a small town?
No, I wasn't, but my grandmother was. So every summer we went there.
And
you knew the pharmacist, you knew the person at the hardware store, you knew the person at the bank in town.
Listen, y'all, I still have a rep at the bank, bank back home, because I can just call them and they don't put me through all the red tape.
Right,
They're just like, it's almost like they still in and do things on your word. Your
but
word
watch
means
this.
something.
Your name meant something.
Yes.
I could go someplace and I could tell them my grandmother is and okay, here you go.
That's
going home.
Why I still bank.
And people don't value your name anymore. I was taught when I was being trained to be a teacher And I taught in Dallas, and there were so many names, Hispanic names, that I didn't know how to pronounce. And they said, practice saying their names, because some of these kids, that's all they have is their name. That's theirs, that they own all by themselves. So I've always valued a person's name, and I just don't think young people do that anymore.
They don't.
Like we used to.
It's just not even the same. But as women, what can we do to help our children? What can we even do to alleviate some of our stress?
One of the things that I speak about often is I think we need to do a better job raising young girls, and teaching them to have a voice, to use their voice, to operate in respect, first for themselves, second for others. And you know, we teach people how to treat us. So how do you want to present yourself to the world? Whether it's how you know, I did a presentation on personal branding for middle schoolers. And that's in how you dress, how you talk, who you hang out with. My dad always said you're going to be guilty by association.
It's true.
And so be careful who you hang out with. It doesn't matter that you're not doing what they're doing. If you're caught with that group, or people always think of that group of kids and associate you with it, they're going to have that same thought about you. I think we've lost family time. Now you get families together, everybody if they're all at the table, everybody's on the device.
Got the phone.
Right. So we're not talking. Kids learn before they're even verbal, they're modeling their parents. So they're watching how you communicate with each other, how you move when you're angry, all of those kinds of things. We stopped all of that. And you know, we get a phone call and we're upset, we're going to go outside. We're going to go to the other room. We're not talking to each other. We're not helping kids process a bad day at school. And I say the same thing for the boys that we're raising, because we need to raise men. But I think if we really focus on these young girls, they're going to raise the standard for young boys.